The CEI presents e-learning tutorials. Please enjoy it.
Hello, my name is Jacob Brittle, and today we're going to be talking about KickStarter and how crowdfunding can help fund your project. First, what is KickStarter? KickStarter is a new and innovative way to raise money online for projects. And you do that by setting a goal, and the backers, which are the users of the site, pledge money towards that goal. And if you reach your goal, then everybody who pledged a donation donates their money to you. But it's all or nothing, meaning that if you don't reach your goal, no money changes hands. Let's look at some Kickstarter success stories. Take, for example, the Pebble e-paper watch. They set a goal of $100,000 to fund their project, and they managed to get nearly 70,000 people to back them, pledging $10 million total. The 10-year hoodie is also a good success story. They asked for $50,000, but managed to get 10,000 people to back them for a total of $1 million in pledges. Getting your project on Kickstarter isn't easy, and there are certain requirements that you have to meet in order for your project to be eligible. The biggest requirement is that your campaign has to be a project that produces something. And it also has to fit into one of the following categories. Most of the categories are creative and artistic. However, there are some that are based on technology or innovative design. When you begin a campaign on Kickstarter, the first decision that you have to make is your funding goal. Now, this should be the minimum amount needed to complete your project, and the lower that you can get this number, the better. The reason for that is that if you don't meet your minimum funding goal, then you don't receive any of the donations that have been pledged to you so far. You also have to decide on a deadline for your project. The deadline can be anywhere from a few days after its launch to 2 months after you post your campaign on Kickstarter. However, 2 months is not necessarily the best decision, especially if your project needs money sooner rather than later, because you won't receive any of your project's donations until the deadline is over. But once you've decided on these two things, you're ready to start publicizing your campaign to anyone who will listen. Backer rewards are what make Kickstarter different from simply asking for a donation, and they're also one of the most important elements for project success. And the reason for that is good rewards motivate more backers to donate. Now, you can have multiple types of rewards offered for different pledges called reward tiers. Large reward tiers will draw in fewer backers, but they might motivate people to donate larger sums of money. And smaller reward tiers may cause undecided backers to pledge a small amount of money to your campaign. But it's important to remember that every dollar counts, and the more backers you can get, the more donations that you will get. With rewards being such an important part of Kickstarter, it helps to come up with some creative ideas for rewards. Now, the most common idea for a reward is simply giving the backer a copy of your finished product. But other reward ideas can include allowing the backer to give back some input for the project, mentioning them in the credits, or giving them some kind of exclusive experience or item for pledging on Kickstarter before anyone else has had the opportunity to buy the product. Now, we've almost covered all of the basics to running a successful Kickstarter campaign. We know that we need a reasonable goal and deadline, with creative rewards for our backers, with multiple reward tiers for large and small donations. But it's also important to remember to keep your backers updated about the status of your project. This will also help to get your backers to spread the word and generate interest for your project. Now we're going to look at what happens after your project is funded on Kickstarter. The first thing you have to do is, if you have any time left in your campaign, use it to raise more money for stretch goals. Now, stretch goals are goals that incentivize people to donate even after your initial goal has already been met. And they do this by offering an improved project using the extra pledges. After you pass the deadline for your campaign, you have to start sending your rewards out to your backers as soon as possible. And then, once you've rewarded your backers, you can use the money that you've raised on Kickstarter to finally complete the project.
This e-learning video was brought to you by the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at University of Memphis. Program Director Kelly Pingwell, Program Manager Angela Trillo, Technology Specialist Jacob Riddle, and it was narrated by Jacob Riddle.